so you can share that with other people. And if they do listen, they can learn. And that's how you learn, by someone who's a mentor sharing with you. And again, there's more mortgage brokers out there than any of us have time.
So real quick on that point, progressing. This time last year, if I saw 5 loans in a month, it was a great month. Now I'm looking at 20, 30, 40 loans a month.
And now you have to mitigate, hey, how do I take out the loans that I already know are auto fails, right? Do I hire a TC? Do I have a VA? Do I have multiple VAs, right? How do I touch these clients that are actually, bringing me solid deals? Right? These mortgage brokers that are sending me solid deals.
Right.
What can I do? Should I throw an event? Like, yeah, bro. It becomes a different game as you grow.
Yeah.
You got to put in the work, though. You get work by doing work. Love it, dude. Debt fund versus private beneficiary.
Yeah, so there's 3 main categories of what I say private lenders. So one is a balance sheet lender that can be a private benny, right? They're going to typically have a little bit more lax credit standards, right? They're a lot more focused on the deal, and they're going to be a little bit more investor focused.
I love those guys, by the way.
Totally. You can get all kinds of terms, right? You don't pay interest until the end of the term. You can get sweetheart deals. You can get higher leverage than you can get anywhere else. So, another category of balance sheet lenders is us. Obviously, banks, some of these private equity backed companies, right? So that's like one category. Another category are more driven by the capital market. So they're a little bit more an intermediary than anything else. And we do a little bit of this as well. So we're originating to someone else's credit standard, right? And so there's really only like maybe half a dozen buyers on Wall Street that are taking this paper and securitizing it, or they're placing it with large asset managers and insurance companies. So they're going to have...
It's so interesting. Sorry to cut you off, bro. But the more I talk to guys like you who are in the capital market space and really, really understand it, I'm hearing this over and over and over. There's like 5, 6 groups out there, guys, that are buying all this stuff. And I'm like, what? They're like, no, literally, it all flows up. And there's like literally 5 or 6 groups that are buying all of this debt and moving it.
And it's the biggest companies in the world and the largest asset managers.
It's a trick, dude.
Yeah,
it's an absolute trick.
So those lenders have less latitude to be creative because they have a very specific box.
And they can't lose, right? They have to get win.
And so shameless plug for us, because we have our own capital and we don't have like some large concentration of someone that sits on our committee or something.
Yeah.
If we need to structure a deal that we like the deal, and we need to figure out a way to make it work with like cross-collateralized or bringing in another partner or doing something else creative or allowing a subordinate lien or something like that, we can do that.
Love that.
And so that's the benefit of that. And then the third category, you and I know a couple of these guys, they're what I call trustee lenders. And so what they're allowed to do is they're allowed to fractionalize a note with up to 10 people. So they can be creative as well. They own the investment process and the credit process, but they are beholden to the amount of capital that's available from their sources of capital.
Right.
So most of these guys are pretty good, but occasionally they fall on their face and they have a gap in a deal and they can't get a deal done. There's
pros and cons.
Yeah, for everyone.
Yeah, I call those garage lenders.
Yeah.
They're just writing the note out of their garage, dude.
That's right.
Do you have aspirations, Dylan, to raise a fund down the line, potentially start a company? We can scratch this too from the pod if you're not comfortable.
No, I do.
Are you able to talk about this?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let me run it back. Guys. Dylan, do you personally have aspirations in your business life to potentially raise capital, start a debt fund, and then go out and build a brand?
I do, and that's part of the reason for the personal brand and the LinkedIn and all that sort of stuff. And it's an interesting sort of dilemma to be in because you can make an ungodly amount of money as a mortgage broker and as a loan guy, but I think I might get a little bit bored over time of that treadmill.
I agree, bro. That's what stopped. I used to sell money.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes like a job, and it's just about yield, and it's just about volume, and it's just about hitting goals. Yeah, and then that's why I love being an operator. And again, this isn't about me, but I just explain that. That's my thinking is like, the cool thing about being an operator is there's so much variance. I systematize what we're doing, but I could raise a debt fund too. I can go raise capital, right? I could build a bigger company. We could expand into LA. I could expand into Texas. Like we could go after bigger projects if we want to. We could grow into a larger developer. So I love being an operator because there's not really like, I could go fix and flip just a house for fun, make $100,000, fantastic. Like that's cool. But if I'm only selling debt, I feel like I'd be a little bit boxed in. But again, pros and cons and everything. But I do see your point. You want to expound upon that?
Yeah. So then the other side of that is, you can make really good money as a mortgage officer or broker, but at the end of the day, if you're bringing in 500 a year, but you're spending 300 a year, you're gonna get nowhere.
100%.
So one of the things our CEO is mentoring me on is he's like, hey, once we get you to a volume, you're gonna be buying a piece of real estate every year, and you're gonna be offsetting your income, and you're gonna pay very little taxes, and that's gonna allow you to
I know a guy that may have some real estate you could buy. Some deals you might be able to invest in.
You might know a guy.
I might know a guy. Yeah, dude, I love that. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And making wise financial decisions. And also, paying to play, right? Like you're in the space, are you doing the thing? I think it's cool to be able to say, yeah, I think you posted the other day about your investment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Right? Like the more units you own, the more you're doing the thing. I'm like, yeah, dude, this guy knows what it's about. He's not only selling money, he's borrowing money.
Right.
He's really doing the thing. I love that. All right. Let's talk about some ways to get hurt with value add and ways you've seen deals go bad.
Yeah, so one of the things I've talked about many times is just because someone will give you the money doesn't mean you should take them.
100%.
And I think a lot of people have felt that pain. And you shouldn't take a loan approval as a blessing that you're not going to get hurt. I think a lot of people did that, especially when you think about there's a lot of fix and flip multifamily lenders out there, call it fix and flip, value add, whatever, same thing, right? That they're giving you money based on a final loan to value. That doesn't mean that you'll be able to refinance that property at that loan to value.
Nope.
And so what a lot of operators are running into right now is they're sitting on 10, 11, 12% private money notes on a, San Diego 5% cap property at 70% leverage. They're bleeding cash. And so you need to think about the end goal here. If your end goal is to sell a thing, you're going to need to have the cash to continue to carry it once your project's complete to get it to stabilization. Or if you're going to keep the thing, you better be thinking about it actually being financeable at the end of the term. So
yeah, and I talked about this yesterday when we had, Larry on. There's blood out there. There are some ADU developers, smaller infill developers that are in big trouble, exactly to the point that you're talking about. I had some trouble personally last year. Some hits, dude. And I learned that lesson, and now I know it. It's really, really important. Debt is one of the biggest reasons, I would say top 3 for sure, why deals go bad. It's too expensive. It took too long. The city closed down. Whatever happened, right? Time starts to tick, tick, tick. You are on the hook for that money. And if you are literally bleeding, it only takes so long till you bleed out, man.